Happy holiday interregnum, and welcome to Momentous Live, episode 43 for our holiday nominal deployment sequence spectacular, whatever that means. I think Jamie might know what it means.
I didn't write that. I don't no idea what that means.
Well, you'll figure it out. We'll figure it out soon when we get to the actual story. I'm Tristan Jutra. To my side is...
Me, Tasia Custodi, and to my side is...
William Silver, and directly below me is...
Jerome Matthew, like the Brady Bunch.
And pass it on.
You're not going to throw to me, Jerome?
And this way, and over here, I think...
The most important, apparently, Jamie Reynolds.
Is two guests in one show.
Look at that. Look at that. We thought we would round up a couple of willing victims who had filled in over the months. Thank you very much, Jamie and Jerome, for your efforts over the past year. Filling in for some people that, decided to do other things. Yeah. Great.
It's hard, big shoes to fill, but we tried.
Very big. You should see Tasia's feet. They're horrendous.
Size 14.
Huge.
We never get to see your feet. You see, this is what not fair. It's not fair.
Exactly. So we got a very special episode today. Oh, and Jamie, if you're looking for the Twitter link, it should be live now.
Great.
On the Twitter, if you can find it.
On the Twitter.
I
don't understand technology.
We're going to talk about some of our favorite Christmas gifts and tech gadget purchases and TV shows and movies over the last year. But first, just one quick story that we didn't get a chance to get to last week. Well, we had a chance, but I missed it. I had too many tabs open and just missed it. But we should give a proper shout out to the James Webb Telescope. $10 billion project that has been, I believe, like 30 years in the making. Quite the immense undertaking, and basically set to displace Hubble. So, the news stories started to come out last week about it, and talking about just how much is riding on the line to make this work. And ultimately, this space telescope is going to be deployed. It's on its way to be about a million miles away from Earth, as I understand it. And it's going to get us much more detailed photographs than even the Hubble telescope, which has been working away diligently for decades for us. So the launch was a couple days ago, and it's been going through and deploying the different parts, expanding the telescope, expanding the heat shields, all that sort of stuff. It's already passed the moon's orbit, and in Gray's absence this week, he's got family in town, which is really nice given these times. Jamie is our understudy, official momentous space correspondent.
I like to think of myself as actually the lead, and then Graham just happens to be the understudy who's on all the time, but whatever. Yes, so you would like me to talk about the James Webb Telescope. What there's just so much about this thing that I found really impressive. One of the real cool things is the fact that it sits at the L2 point in Earth's kind of orbit, but it's a special spot that sits out, and it's kind of like a geosynchronous orbit, but it sits in the sun's shadow, and it gives it protection from the sun, because the cooling on the James Webb Space Telescope, in order to look with infrared, which is what it's designed to do, needs to be cooled to some crazy low thing that you can't even get in Earth's regular orbit. So they got to send it way out, get it protected from the sun. They got crazy insulation around it to protect it from the sun's rays. And and it's supposed to see, in essence, back in time. We're going to see photons from the beginning of close to the beginning of the universe that are just now getting to us. So it's pretty fascinating stuff.
And so I understand that previously we've only been able to see about 13 billion years back in the past, like the available light from us from the early history of the universe. But now we're going to be able to see 13.5 billion years back. So just a bit further, but that 500 million years is getting us ever closer to what we think is the Big Bang, the origin of the universe. So some interesting insights might come from that. Good times. Anyone else been following? There's a great site at jwst.nasa.gov where you can actually see the current status of the James Webb Telescope right now. So currently, it's 323,000 miles from Earth.
Wow.
It's 36% of the way to it's at 0.6 miles per second. So it's it's not super fast, but that's faster than I've ever gone. And you can follow along.
I was actually quite nervous. I didn't watch it because I get too nervous when I watch actual launches for something like this. Like, they don't have a second one. It's not like the movie Contact, where they made a second machine that in Japan, in case the first one got destroyed. So there was only one telescope. So I was a little worried that it was going to blow up mid-flight, but fortunately it didn't. But again, the Lagrange point is really the interesting part of this thing that I didn't really understand about how it works. So there's these 4 points around Earth that you can kind of put stuff and it will stay there. That's not geosynchronous. That was really fascinating to me.
That's a deep cut there on the old Contact reference. Spoiler alert, there's a second machine.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
Spoiler.
Also, the beauty of science fiction.
Movie. Yeah.
Also, I don't know what's going on. I actually have lights where I am. I'm not sure why I turned into a black rectangle.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're still just frozen on my
phone. Oh, you're frozen?
I still see your face.
Your video's frozen there, Tristan.
So
it just got that cold.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if that's it. So speaking of cold, before we get into some of our picks, it is freaking cold where we are in our house here because our original first generation Nest thermostat, which is several years old now, its battery decided to die finally. And
the worst possible timing.
They're not replaceable on the first gen ones. In later generations, they're replaceable. So basically, you just got to huck the unit into the ocean, as far as I can tell, unless we can do some surgery on it. But it's just like, okay, yeah, it's pretty chilly. So we got the fireplace going right now. I actually removed it, plugged it in to try to get the internal battery recharged. But so last night I was mucking about, and then you got to go and relight the furnace and all that. And oh boy, it was a fun time. So we're going to give it another go this evening once we're done here. But so that's why my hands are turning blue.
Oh,
but you can't see because who knows what's going on there. Anyhow, but that's fine. We've seen enough of my face over this past year. So let's jump to it, shall we? So our first topic are, Christmas here, and I think everyone here celebrates some form of Christmas or another. And I'm curious what your favorite Christmas gift was. It doesn't have to be techie necessarily, but just something, there's no feelings will be hurt anywhere, I'm sure. By all our parents that are watching, but I just want to do a little round robin, see what are you particularly excited about so far. My wife Stephanie and I finally just finished opening our presents literally a few minutes before we started because it drags out in this house with all the things going on. But Tasia, let's start with you.
Okay, so the best gift that I got, I'm putting it in this category, even though I requested the gift. So
those are the best kind.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Fair game.
Yeah. It is a Moxie Bluetooth shower head from Kohler. So it's I know. So I really wanted to I just sound so great singing in the shower that I wanted some accompaniment.
At least that's what you think, and most people think.
Exactly.
As an audio guy, I can say it's probably not the case, but yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. Escalated quickly.
Happy New Year to you.
It's the panels in the shower that make you sound good, but it's really a false,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, just bringing Tasia right back to earth. Thanks, Jim. You go on, Tasia.
No, it's true. Yeah, so back on Black Friday, actually, I requested it because it was on sale. So I was like, this is the best deal it's going to be. And you know me, love a good deal. So I requested it, and then I did indeed get it for Christmas, and I'm very excited. So that inner part where the speaker is, if you guys see that is magneted in. So that just pops right out, and you can charge it, and then bing, exactly, pop it right back in. And yeah, the water only comes out of that outer part. And I got the brushed nickel one or whatever, and it's with the black, and it looks sick. So it looks really cool, not an ugly speaker. Because that was my thing of aesthetic wise. If you Google Bluetooth speakers, they're all like, yeah, I suction cup this onto my wall in my
I have
shower.
one
And I
of
was like,
those,
I
and it
don't,
works great.
yeah. But I was like, I don't want, like that's not what I want, because my shower is a pain in the ass to clean. So we have hard water, and I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So then I came across this, and then the sale happened on Black Friday, and so I was like, yes. And it's awesome. So I've been listening to Red Taylor's version on repeat in the shower and like singing it, and like it's so good. So that's my pick.
Wow.
I feel so old sometimes. I don't know what that is. What
And
is red?
speaking of old, Jamie, when you mean sick, you mean not actually ill, right? This is something the young
I think Jamie's
say.
not that old. He gets that. I mean, come on, right, Jamie?
Yeah, I do get
is
that.
he always ill?
He's got, adult children now.
Well,
Yes,
if
exactly.
Jamie was that hip, he would know that Taylor Swift album is the only album in existence, according to Deja at this moment.
Well, in that point,
Yeah, we need
Jamie,
we need another category for best album of the year of 2021.
Best Taylor Swift Red album of the year.
Best Taylor Swift album. Yeah, exactly.
Will Kanye West be involved though when she gets the award? I would really like that.
So I'm gonna let you finish, but sorry, Will, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jamie, you feel old. My niece, her big present this year was Olivia Rodrigo tickets. I didn't even know what an Olivia Rodrigo was, and they're like reselling for $3,000 or something
Really?
like that.
Wow.
Yeah. My
I
niece
don't know
scored
what that is.
tickets too. She's so excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's new. She's
really
up and
good.
coming. That's why you might not have heard of her, but she's she's pretty
She's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. All right. Moving
Very
on,
cool.
Will. How about,
before we move on, I have to ask: how is the actual shower, like the shower portion? Because that to me is important. I gotta have. Like I like the real small, like jet, hose right on my head kind of thing. I don't like a little wispy little.
You're spoiled by those Vegas casino hotels.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's actually really good. Like
Okay.
I don't notice a difference between the one I had, which was good, and this one. Like I honestly think they thought about things from that type of like function and design perspective collectively, which is very excited. Now I will update you guys after like I clean it and like after I've had it for a while, and I'll let you know if I'm still in love with it. But it is like so far one of my favorite smart home.
It does look pretty sexy.
Things that I have. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's Kohler, so it's it's going to be a decent shower head. And as for as opposed to a JBL shower head, which I would be concerned about.
Good audio, but who knows? Does water actually come out of it?
Exactly.
Will, how about you?
So I again, a little bit like Tasia, I requested a gift certificate because as you guys know, I like making music, and I really wanted to get some virtual instruments. What Jerome can appreciate this, what are called VSTs. So I downloaded 2 VSTs from a company called Native Instruments, their Play series. So I downloaded a virtual instrument called Stax and another one called Lo-Fi Glow. And I've been playing with those, and I really enjoy that. It's really fun to have a few more instruments to play with, and make some music too.
You scared me for a second, Will, because I thought you were going to say you were getting another audio mixer, and I was going to hang up right now. I was like, I swear to you. You already have 10.
Yeah, I know. 15 if you're counting.
Is that STAX? Or no, STAC.
Stax. STACS.
So not like the record label. So STACKS. So what is the nature of these particular VST plugins? And can someone tell us what VST even means?
Virtual Studio Technology.
There we go.
There you go. So
what's Stax?
They'll end up like mimicking instruments. So you'll have different audio sort of presets, and they'll emulate things like bass or organs or pianos and those type of instruments. There'll be different sort of that A and B. You can alter the way the sort of the sound starts and ends. You can tweak everything like the LFOs and the envelopes and all that fun stuff. I'm sure Jerome could explain even more. To be honest with you, I've only been playing with those virtual instruments for about a year, and I'm still learning stuff every day. But yeah, they're really fun to sort of play with the presets, but then start tweaking. See how they want you to make it sound, and then go, hey, what if I turn this all the way the other way? What will happen? So, comedy ensues. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun just playing with those and making some cool sounds.
And it looks like Lo-Fi Glow adds some grittiness to your instruments.
I think the feeling or the approach they're going for here is like, the ultimate is to get a bunch of records from a record store and then sample them and then use them in your recording. Well, that's expensive license wise, and it's not practical. So they've recreated the feeling of those old records with new original sounds and loops that you have legal rights to use. So it just has that same sound, that old lo-fi vibe, but it's original creations.
And there's various filters too, Jerome, that you can put through the instruments that make it sound like those old tape loops, like around the studio that they used to do and stuff like that. So you can make that sound and tweak it in different ways, and that's really popular now. That's one of the things that the Lo-Fi Glow, but also the Lo-Fi music that's become sort of popular in the last year or so, using a lot of those old techniques like tape loops and things like that.
And to be fair, like a lot of hip hop for decades now has actually taken advantage of the pop and crackle, because they did so much actual sampling from old school like funk records and stuff like that, and just left that noise, that grittiness in there to give it that particular effect. So it's so now it's available to anyone with a laptop.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can get. This tools out there, like the VST tools, they've recreated like tools that the Beatles used to use that are super expensive and difficult to find, and these techniques to get effects, like doubling effects on the famous Beatles records, and now you can get the same exact effect in the computer by they reproduced it, the method of creating the effect, but it's in computer, and it's so much easier to do or use, but you've got the option of having those type of effects. So it's from technology that probably won't exist anymore. Eventually it'll wear out and won't be accessible. So they've preserved that sound now. You can get it.
Well, and they're mimicking, as you probably know, Jerome, I don't want to bore everyone with VSTs, but they've mimicked all the old like amps and like mixing boards and stuff that really have that cool old sound. And a lot of them you can just plug into whatever you're playing and get it to sound like the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or something like that. Of course, I can't play like Jimmy Page, but
very cool. Well, we look forward to seeing the results of some of your new plugins in your future beat drops. Well, we're not going to talk. We might talk about Project Squid Time at the end, because I know you got something else cooking. But Jamie, what was one of your favorite Christmas gifts this year? I know you're really post gift nowadays.
I kind of am. Yeah, we don't do a lot of gift giving in our household. We just have so much stuff, and so I'll kind of run through a couple of things. This is a little corny, and so just bear with me. But there was a possibility that my youngest son was not going to be able to make it home for Christmas because he had a COVID exposure, but he hung out over at his place on Vancouver Island for a few extra days with his girlfriend, and then took some tests through the University of Victoria. They gave him a bunch of tests because they had an outbreak there, and in the end he was able to make it home. So that was actually nice to have the four of us together for Christmas.
Greatest gift of all is
so that was family. For me it's kind of weird that way, but yeah, stuff wise, just buy things. I just normally buy things if I need them, so it's not a thing. But then with my kids, my youngest one, Chris, got me beer, but also got me
they trained him well.
Got me Dune, the book Dune, which I've never read. So I'm gonna that's on my list for either camping trip or evening reads or whatever here and there. So that was kind of nice for him, thoughtful to get that, because he knew I've seen both the movies that have been out there. And then my oldest son Alex, he actually got my wife and I a new kettle, and it's a technology kettle. This is not just your average run of the mill kind of kettle. This has 8 buttons on it, You can. It actually tells you what kind. If you want your certain kind of tea, if you want oolong tea, this is the button you press to get the right temperature for that. If you want black tea, if you want your French press coffee water, so it's basically just boiling, getting everything to the right temperature for the right kind of drink that you have. And our current kettle was definitely a bit worse for wear. So getting this new one has actually been very useful in the last few days. We can actually have proper water for all of our drinks, and we do a lot of tea and coffee drinking in our house. So that was kind of nice, and so those were kind of my one thing. And then a certain special somebody who's frozen on the screen right now.
I hope it's a flattering pose, because I can't see it. All I see is a black rectangle.
It is very unflattering. It looks like you may have smoked something. But Tristan and Stephanie got a couple of concert tickets, or a concert ticket. I'm not sure what. It wasn't really clear what was going on with that. So, but they're going to go see OMD at some point in the future. So that's kind of
someone else might be joining us as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's my pick, the tickets, because I'm sure, like most of you, we're feeling very deprived from seeing live shows and entertainment for a long time. So that's definitely my pick. And yeah, like Jamie said, we don't do a lot of the gifts. It's not too crazy, so it's not like that. Like I have a long list to choose from and say, oh, this is my favorite. But yeah, that one is a big one, and I think it's far enough away that we can pretty much have feel confident that it's not going to be postponed or canceled.
May 22nd.
We were saying that about last Christmas, about this Christmas. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
and it's so the OMD show. It's at Stanley Park, and it's at Malkin Bowl outdoors. So hopefully that one won't be.
Well, there you go. That's pretty much
the three oldest people on the show will be there for that. Woo! It's their 40-year sort of anniversary tour. So they're going to be playing lots of the old hits. So
nice.
All the tunes you remember from John Hughes movies and elsewhere. So
that's nice. Their stuff holds up too.
Tristan, what's your pick? Pick?
Oh, me. Well, my top pick, I'm not actually going to share today because I need to. There's a visual required, and it was actually none other than the stalwart Will Silver. There had a couple of custom things made. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we'll have to. If we get the temperature in this home above zero, maybe the equipment will work properly and I can show it off. So the backup, the runner-up prize was from my lovely wife Stephanie. Got me a pair of AirPods Max. So the big over-the-ear headphones from Apple, which takes advantage of the custom wireless chip in there for the very easy pairing and transferring between Apple devices. And going to take the opportunity this year to listen to some more music. I still listen to a lot of podcasts, but I have so much music, and I don't take enough time just to sit there as over-the-ear headphones and just enjoy some tunes, while I'm working or otherwise. I find I like listening to music while I'm writing. I don't, writing and editing podcasts can get interfered with that a little bit. So get the tunes cranking. And I've only in the past ever had like on-ear headphones, which can be a little sore on your ears over time. So over-the-ear will be nice. And of course, part of the.
So these are sorry, I do feel like a bit of a Luddite sometimes. So these are just basically just regular headphones. Is that the idea? They're
Bluetooth. They're Apple Bluetooth headphones that have the custom chips that are in the other AirPods models as well. So the data goes back and forth, and you can see like the charge levels and all that kind of stuff, and the pairing and the switching between the devices it's quite easy, and decent sound quality. I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars on headphones, and we're not in that category. These ones are not cheap by any stretch. I had also been looking at Beats Studio, but the Beats, again, because they have that same or similar chip in there for integration into the ecosystem. But the Beats sound profile is a little bassy for my taste. I like bass, but I don't need the Beats kind of bass on there. So so that's what we're looking at right here. And they come in different colors, and we just got the graphite one. I would show you the box, but again, Setup's not working for some reason. Anyhow, but Jerome, I mean, as you can attest, like you're not going to use Bluetooth headphones for live editing and studio work because there's always like a slight lag. But for appreciation of music, you're not going to get lossless necessarily because Bluetooth itself has compression built in there. So for the best experience, you're always going to need a wired connection if you're getting your old school cans on there. And as the audio engineer in the room, I'm sure Jerome could attest to that too. But I will report back with my experience in an upcoming episode.
I recently got some Bluetooth headphones finally for the first time as a little, personal gift. And they're super handy in various situations where you want to be able to be mobile. And I found them very handy for a very, very long Zoom meeting, and where I didn't have to show my face and I could walk around and do stuff while I was in the meeting, which is awesome. So definitely have their purposes,
Perfect. All right, let's move on to our next category, which is our favorite tech purchase of the year. So not something that someone else got for us, but something we got for ourselves. That falls into the tech category. So back to you, Tasia.
This was hard for me to pick out of my top two, but I will go with the 2021 MacBook Pro.
And it's the M1 Max version, right?
Yeah, that was a big purchase. So I'm going to pick that, okay?
That's a beauty. Not surprised to hear that.
And so what kind of specs did you trick it out with?
It was really stressful because, well, some of the guys know, I traded in I had a 2018 MacBook Pro, and I ended up doing a trade-in to get this one, the 2021. And I was so upset because I loved my 2018. Do you know what I mean? I just loved her, but she just wasn't quite fast enough, So, yeah, I decided to bite the bullet. And then I got this email from Apple being like, hey, are you going to trade in still? Because I hadn't done the trade back yet. And I was like, well, yes, I will. But I just need some more time, to say goodbye.
To migrate your data over and whatnot. They give you a week or two usually, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even home. I was away, and the guys know the whole story. And so it was
traveling during a pandemic, no big deal.
And I didn't have the time. So it was yes, I am. And then, but I did it, and everything worked out fine. But yeah, I got the M1 Max chip, 64 gigabytes. Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I'm so far impressed. I only did the 1 gig of storage because I was just I don't actually
1 terabyte?
1 terabyte.
Sorry,
1 gig.
1 gig.
You can't even install Premiere.
I don't even use this. I'm not even using it right now. 1 terabyte. Because I don't actually store a ton on the device itself on the hard drive. So, but yeah, so far I'm happy with it. There's been a couple interesting glitches, which I don't really know why.
Because you're an early adopter.
Probably. And my theory, Jerome, and I've told the guys this, my theory is because I set this up as from a time machine backup of the 2018. And my theory is whenever you do that, it's a problem. Because when I set up the 2018, I decided I'm doing this from scratch. I'm only going to pull over individual programs. And then this time I thought, oh, well, the migration assistant makes it so easy. I might as well just do that. And there's some interesting things. So I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the operating system or because I did the migration assistant, but nothing that's been this is a terrible purchase. It's clearly still my favorite purchase of the year. So,
Good stuff. Yeah, whenever you move from one machine to another, and there's different ways to do it, the manual setup it takes longer, but at the end of the day, some people regard that as best practice because you're not bringing over all the cruft, settings from apps you no longer use and so on. And if there were any kind of, any glitches that had accumulated over the years, then it's an opportunity to start fresh. But, the migration assistant is so simple. It's hard to resist, especially if you're pressed for time, if you're getting the gears and they want you to send back the old one. But glad it's working for you so far. Definitely, pretty decent reviews all around on this on these ones, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max MacBook Pro models. Not cheap by any stretch, but definitely long overdue in terms of, people had mixed results with the previous generations from the 2016 to 2020. And a lot of that had to do with the thermals from the Intel processors. There's only so much you can get, when you're trying to be so thin like Apple does. And, if you can't get the fan situation going, like the fans would spin up all the time. And I know Graham had this issue and Jerome as well. So, the huge difference maker with the Apple Silicon is just the much less power, like competitive performance, but for like a fraction of the power usage. So then you don't need quite as much cooling and whatnot. And one of the things that Apple seems to prioritize is using fans as little as possible because, some people get annoyed by fans. So that's there you go. Glad you're enjoying it so far, Tasia. How about you, Will? Your favorite tech purchase over the year? Is it going to be the same thing as Tasia, or are we going?
Are we allowed to pick the same thing, or
you're not going to say like 7 Vestax mixers?
No, well, there is a Vestax mixer that's in the competition for purchase of the year. But if I'm being totally honest, my MacBook is the favorite thing I bought. It's I was a little bit longer to wait to buy a new one than Tasia. I was a 2014, and I was really nursing it along. By the end, it was wanting to die. Every live stream, it sounded like a rocket was taking off. It was getting pretty bad near the end. The last couple months were a struggle. People who, Tristan, your mom might know because she watches the show. The mic was dropping out, and I was sounding like Mr. Roboto or something at certain points. So to be
clear, why was that happening? Because in the background you're running Photoshop, Illustrator, Serato, etc. You would only shut those apps down when I remind you to. It's like, come on.
You look better though. I mean,
oh, do I? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Webcam's much nicer.
Yeah. No potato cam. But if I have to choose a mixer, my mixer of the year that I bought was the Vestax 08, which is super hard to get, especially with the original power supply, which is a bipolar 180 AC. So that's really hard to find one with an intact power supply, and I was able to do that. So
did you say mixer of the year?
Yeah, my mixer of the year.
Okay.
My retro mixer of the year.
Well, if you get enough of them, you can eventually have a mixing board big enough to mix like a Dolby Atmos film, maybe. Or
yeah, dude, I have 15 mixers back.
Don't tempt him.
What model number is it, Will?
Vestax 08.
Oh, 08. I was doing 108. Okay.
PMC 08 Pro.
Okay, I'm gonna find out. I got a picture of this bad boy.
Oh, so they are sexy. They are sexy mixers. Can I just say the power supply is huge because it's a bipolar power supply, which cuts out some of the frequency problem of the AC/DC power conversion. So
yeah, good power supply can clean up noise. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, and it's the strangest looking power supply you've ever seen. There it is, because it actually. The input looks like an XLR cable instead of like your regular plug.
Oh, one of those deals, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Jamie, what kind of mixer did you get for yourself this year?
I did
a drink
not
mixer.
Get a mixer. That was fortunately not on my list. No, I think I was thinking about it, and I didn't buy much tech. I don't buy much tech anymore. I love I've got a frame TV at home, a Samsung frame TV, which I love. It's
that was 2020.
I know. So I was going with that, but then I realized no, it's got to be my it's my sort of my go-to tech device is the Samsung S21 Ultra, and that is a nice machine. So I use it for everything, as we all do with our daily driver phones. And I just find its battery capability. Of course, it's a new phone, so it's great, and the cameras are spectacular. Really enjoying those, and it does what I need it to do, and in a nice form factor as well. I do enjoy it. So yeah, I'm going to go with the S21 Ultra is my go-to tech device.
Yeah, one of the most highly rated phones of the year, and in MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, Jamie and I were speaking about this a few days ago.
That's right.
He does the annual smartphone awards, and the Galaxy S21 Ultra, I think, picked up 2 or 3 of the awards, including Best All-Rounder. So definitely you chose well on that one. Glad it's still working for you.
Yeah.
And for myself, I would say, even though it's a 2020 product, I'm still really, really enjoying, because I got it as a refurb in early 2021. Is my wee little M1 MacBook Air. It's thin, light, battery life for hours and hours and hours and hours. I think pushing 10, 12 hours of battery life on it. I'm not sure what's going on with it right now. I got the old black screen or frozen screen, but it's been a workhorse. And back in 1998, my wife Stephanie and I went with one powerful laptop each, and didn't use any desktop machines. Then, and I've been doing that same approach for years and years. In 2012, she switched to an iMac, and then didn't use laptop all that often. And then just last year, I ended up, or no, it was early. God, what is time? No, it was last year. I picked up her dad's old 2017 iMac and been using that and enjoying the big 27-inch screen and 2 additional 27-inch monitors on either side. The whole battle station there looked like a freaking day trader. But so I decided, for my next laptop, I would just go with the thinnest and lightest possible, and that was the M1 MacBook Air. And just, again, no fan. So if you're pushing it really hard, it will throttle. But I've used it for video editing, all sorts of stuff, and it handles most tasks I throw at it with a plum. And so we'll see. There's supposed to be a refresh, because they use pretty much the same body as the Intel MacBook Air, the previous generation from 2019. So rumors are that there's going to be a style refresh, whether they put an M2 in it or what have you. But I really like the classic wedge style design on this one, because it's thinner right near your palm, so it feels like it feels even more slim than the squared off edges of, say, the MacBook Pro lines, especially the new thick boys that have been released this year. So I'm going for maximum thinness and lightness, and enjoying that so far so good. The runner up on my end would be the beam splitter. I picked up a secondhand beam splitter. It's probably about 10 years old, and that's what we use for these live streams. And it's like what they use for what do you call it? Teleprompting in studios, like in TV broadcast studios for news and whatnot. So you can have a camera in behind and look straight into the camera while seeing stuff on screen. I don't use it much for teleprompting, but use it for our live streams, and that helps with eye lines as well. Again, you wouldn't know it today, but that would be my runner-up tech thing this year, tech purchase for this year. So moving on, favorite movie.
Did Jerome tell us what his was?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I've been talking so much. Maybe
how did we end up on me?
Well, we just skipped around. That's fine. We don't have to.
Okay, well, let's
go
by the rules. Well, it's the Apple TV 4K is a close second to this little baby, which you probably haven't featured on the show. It's called
what is it?
The little upright. Now this thing.
Oh, hang on. Do it again so we can make you bigger.
Now some older tech guys around here might.
Hang on. No, keep doing it. I'm just.
There we go.
There we go. What is?
I want to show you the actual thing. So I just why I didn't.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Now some people in tech here who've been around sitting behind a computer for decades probably can attest to the fact that your body and your posture is like totally screwed up, and I'm one of those guys. So I got myself this little baby that you stick to your back, and it tells you a little buzz, like your phone buzz, when your posture is not right, and it helps program yourself to fix your posture. And you have this.
Is this an episode of Black Mirror?
No, I kid you not. This is the real deal. You see, this is you have this little charging case there, and you plug it in, you leave it on your desk, and when you sit down at your desk or whenever, you can put it on. Now, There's also a necklace thing you can use to wear, but ideally you stick it physically on your back, and it's always there. And then you have the app to decide how it actually tells you whether you're sitting up straight or not. And you calibrate it. It has auto calibration. It's the high tech way to fix your posture. And I've tried a couple things, and this thing I think is pretty cool, and it works very well. And it has levels of sensitivity. So if you find it annoying, you can say, don't alert me so often. And then generally you get this graph at the end of a week or so, and it says, well, you're getting better. It's not doing well. And then gives you tips and stuff. So, but it's a very high tech and super sensitive, especially this Go 2 version, the newest one, is more sensitive and can give you more accurate feedback with very slight movement to your posture. So I hope some of the younger people here will not have to use this. In other words, think about this early on, but I didn't. So, and that's the problem with sitting behind a computer. And we can only hope for the days of Minority Report or something where we're not sitting behind a computer. But that's the reality for a lot of people. And I can't just do a standing up computer thing for my work. So I'm sitting behind a mixing desk or some computers or equipment, and it's just terrible for your body. So this thing is my hope to get back to normal.
Love it. I've actually seen that. It's intrigued me before. My only fear is that you leave it on too long, it eventually just sort of gets absorbed into your skin, and then it's next thing you know, it's controlling your movements and
your brain.
Isn't that where we're going anyway with all this? Is like.
But yeah, you have a great point about posture. Like I know, like it's so much time sitting in front of computers, and we just get naturally hunched. Like even like at the back of our neck, it's like much more of a roll or a curve than we should naturally have. Sometimes I got to go and lie in my bed with my arms stretched out and hang my head off the end of the bed, try and straighten things out. So let us know how it goes. Yeah. If we see, we notice you walking more erect in the future, we know that it's working.
So far, so good. Yeah, it's it can be annoying, but that's the point, to train yourself.
Does it give you a little shock when you're not? What is it? Just
if you want, you got a choice of like kind of alert you get. So you can be a very subtle, like very soft kind of buzz, like your phone, or it can be like a practically electric shock.
Perfect. All right, on to our favorite movie of the year. Now, generally, we're thinking something that came out this year, but if there was something older that was that you saw on a streaming service or on VHS. Of course, you can go to that, but with a bias towards new movies. What was your favorite movie that you've seen so far this year, Tasia?
Guys, I don't think I've seen any that have come out this year.
Wow.
Not even on streaming?
Honestly, no. Like wow. There's a couple.
You're busy making movies.
But then I know. But then everything else is like older stuff.
Okay.
There's one that I want to see, but I haven't seen it. No. So skip me.
You're not the only one there.
Skip me for movies.
Okay. Have you watched any old stuff this year?
Oh God, that's all I watch. Is like this past week was all Christmas.
Let me the Hallmark stuff.
No.
I hear they're great.
My dad loves Hallmark movies. He actually literally loves them.
My wife does too.
That's who they were made for.
No, like classic Christmas movies. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't count.
I heard a little bit of trivia to make you feel old. I think we were talking about this the other day, Jamie. The Christmas Story, the classic movie with the was it the Red Wagon or something in it?
The Red Ryder BB gun.
Red Ryder BB gun. That's
your eye out with that.
I was getting confused with Rosebud. Mm-hmm. So Citizen Kane. So when that came out, A Christmas Story, that was like the mid to late 80s, was like 84 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas we're as far away in time from when A Christmas Story came out as A Christmas Story was from the original release of what's the old
Wonderful Life?
No, the older one than that. Christmas Carol.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Alistair Sim.
Yeah, I believe it's that. Yeah, so that you think, oh wow, that was super old-timey. Well, now A Christmas Story is to us what that was to us back in the mid-'80s. So anyway,
yeah.
Moving along. Tasia, you got something?
I did watch a Christmas one that is from this year, I think, and it was on HBO Max called 8-Bit Christmas.
Oh, that was not good.
It was not good.
I watched 20 minutes of it, and I'm like, yeah, this is.
It sounds so tempting, though. Like,
oh, it does.
Yeah.
I was just because I was hoping for a Christmas story for this generation,
pandering.
And be like, yeah, but it was just, it was
about Nintendo
really
Entertainment System, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it had so much promise, and
really did.
We were like very disappointed. So again, I can't pick that, but I did watch a movie from this year.
There we go. Okay.
Did you watch it all the way through?
Yeah, we did. We had to pause it a few times. And we paused, we went to go walk the dog. Yeah. We did some other, we were just like, okay, we got to get through this, So it wasn't great.
Too bad. No.
I believe at the end, Brett was like, that's the end?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, we really stuck this out.
Well done. You were a victim of sunk cost fallacy. It's like, we got to stick with it.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Will? Favorite movie of the year?
Well, this one was pretty tough for me. I had 3 movies that were really close. I guess I'll give an honorable mention to Dune, which I really enjoyed, which is funny because I was only lukewarm on the original 83 or 84 one because I was traumatized by my older brother forcing me to watch it when I was 6 years old. But I really, really enjoyed the recent one. The music, the visuals were great. But my pick for best movie for me, my favorite movie was Spider-Man No Way Home, and that was a recent one. But it was for me just a culmination of all these movie universes, which was really cool to see them play with that and to play with the concept that I love from the comic books, which is the Spider-Verse. And it's very different from the comic books, but I loved how they adapted it for the movies and brought in a bunch of various movie franchises and it was just really well done. It felt to me like how I felt when I saw the first Avengers movie, when I'd been waiting for so long for it to come to the big screen, and seeing all the other various movies, and then to see it sort of all come together was really great. And Tristan can attest, because I don't know if you guys have seen Spider-Man, but I know Tristan can attest, and Graham as well, that there's a couple teary-eyed moments. I got teary-eyed a few times. We
held hands. We
held hands. Yes, it was really great for me. It's hard not for me to say that's my movie of the year, but Dune was super close, and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, but I love Dune.
High praise on Spider-Man coming from you, Will, because I know being such an avid comic book fan for over the years, and some of the ones we see, you're like, well, that wasn't really what really up to what I was expecting there. So it's good to see that they met or even exceeded your expectations on this one.
I try to judge them based on the movie universe because they're all different from the comic books at this point. And for the most part, Marvel knocks it out of the park. I think the only one that I probably disliked in the last few years was Eternals. Was probably a bit of a letdown, but that was a bit of a B-list or C-list comic book franchise to begin with. So, and was maybe a little bit slow-paced. But no, Spider-Man was great.
Good stuff. All right, let's go to you, Jerome. So we're going to go clockwise here. So as opposed to reading a book. And that way we won't miss you.
Dune was, I have to say, I'm kind of tied because I really like Dune, but it's not an original story, an idea. Whereas for me, Free Guy was a little bit more, although it's derivative. I thought it was unique. It was unexpected. There were things in it that just popped in that you would never imagine, and that was cool. And I like the concept of that, this concept that maybe AI or the character or something becomes sentient is interesting. And it's just fun. It's hilarious. It's just like so many laughs, and I think it reaches across a range of demographics, like in terms of who would like the movie as well. Which is kind of cool. It's not easy to do these days, where you can take your kid or teenager and then they might like it as much as you do. That's not no easy task. So.
Can I just add about Free Guy? I did this experiment with my wife where she also picked all of her favorite things of the year, and her favorite movie of the year was Free Guy. So right up with you, Jerome.
Yeah, so I liked that, and Dune were kind of like, but I haven't seen Spider-Man or Matrix, so it's hard to say if those are going to be my favorites once I've seen those two. I don't know. So
yeah, I don't know and no one here has seen Matrix Resurrections yet, have they? No, that's definitely on the list. Well, especially since they changed all the COVID restrictions just before it came out, so they stopped selling tickets, and I'm not sure if that's opened up again because they're trying to limit the capacity of the theaters once again. Good times. All right, Jamie, over to you.
I would have to say I've not seen Spider-Man. I have seen Free Guy, but definitely the movie that I would choose would be Dune. To me, that's a movie theater experience right there. I'm as we've talked about before when I've been on, the superhero movie has kind of run its course for me. Maybe I'm just too old.
I agreed on that. There's too many. It's just too much.
I'm kind of done with it. And that's kind of with the Free Guy thing too. I think it's just I go for the, I don't know. There's something very visceral about seeing Dune. The special effects were done, and a lot of them were practical effects for the movie as well, which I really appreciated. The lighting was very real. It was a beautiful movie to watch. And although, as you point out, Jerome, it's not an original story. It's the way it was visually told was new and unique, and to me, I could get lost into that universe very easily. So. And I've got the book to read now. So
there's a theme this year.
Exactly. So for me, I think Dune is Free Guy was fun, but it to me it felt a little bit. And maybe this is just. It felt a little vapid. There wasn't much to it other than hey, there's AI can be. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it was a Ryan Reynolds. Hey, look, let's just be silly and fun and goof around. And he's a great Vancouver boy, and we like to celebrate that. But to me, for the real a movie that you can sink your teeth into, watch again, and appreciate, and really kind of put on the shelf and say, oh, that's a classic quality movie. I would say that the Villeneuve Dune is definitely up there for me.
If it's great, there's going to be a second one. Sorry.
Yeah, well, they need to. Yes.
Yeah. If you want to recontextualize the third act of Free Guy, go and rewatch the third act of Annihilation.
Okay.
Battle with the Shadow Self.
Yeah.
It's way deeper than it seems. Or not.
Well, it's art. You can take art and you can apply it however you like. So we can look at it as much.
That's what I like to do in first year English class at university. Just take any piece of work or a poem or story, or whatever, and you have to do your analysis. They're always about sex.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course.
Because you can read it, the tintinnabulation of the bells, right?
Yeah, you've lost me. So Tristan, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
Can I throw one more out there, just in terms of something that's completely different than most of what we've talked about? Just a pick, not necessarily my favorite movie of the year. A docu-film that I really enjoyed.
Oh, you want to save this for the wildcard category at the end?
Oh, is there a wildcard category?
Yeah, save it for wildcard at the end.
Okay, I'll save it for wildcard.
Tristan, what's your movie, Tristan?
Yeah. Don't mow my grass here, Will.
I didn't know there was a wild card.
So, because you weren't getting the text. Okay, so anyway, Dune was my very close runner-up as well. I'm the same as Will, basically, on this front. I think there's a little bit of recency bias, given that these are some of the more recent films we saw this year, and there was a lot of backlog in Hollywood as well. I really, really, really enjoyed Dune for all the reasons that Jamie discussed. My just as a standalone movie, the only problem, my only issue was the third act. The resolution of the third act was a little awkward. That's all. It's part one of two. They say it right at the beginning of the movie, but it just like the way it kind of ended was like, oh, okay. yeah, it's done, and now we're gonna wait for part 2.
So like Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings, movie, when they just walk into the forest.
And you're like, oh, okay. So and like the climax, like the boss battle at the end of near the end of the third act of Dune. It's like, well, who is this and why do we care? And then it's done and the movie's over. So that was my only. But everything else, the cinematography, the acting,
expect everything to be just amazing all the time.
Yeah, really exactly. Now, but as for Spider-Man, again, it is a superhero movie. It is more pop culture-y in a more I guess current sense than Dune is, given the source material. But I just Will said he would compare to the first Avengers. I actually would compare this Spider-Man to the last Avengers, to Endgame. The way that they were able to pull together so many threads across so many universes and actually land some emotional blows that you don't necessarily always expect from a superhero movie, especially if you remember what you've seen in previous movies as well across the last couple of decades. Without going into spoilers, some of it it was teased in the trailers themselves and some of the past characters involved. But I think they did a pretty decent job there. And again, this is like high pop culture, let's put it that way. And it's not going to be an independent black and white film about suffering migrant families or anything like that. But as terms of my favorite movie of the year, I'm going to have to go with Spider-Man No Way Home as well, because I'm basic.
I'm excited about seeing it now.
All right. Speaking of basic, Tasia, TV show.
Wow.
She takes it like a champ.
Pretty basic.
What is your favorite TV show of the year? TV series.
Okay, I'm gonna save a second one for like the wild card round, but
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to an HBO Max series called The Sex Lives of College Girls. It's funny. It's from
Jamie's
Mindy
interested.
Kaling. Yeah, it's just a really
Maybe
good,
a little.
it's a cute show that follows the lives of like these new roommates away at college, and I don't want to say too much about it, but even Brett likes it. I started watching it because I thought there's no way he's gonna be into this.
Right.
And then he was like, "What's this?" It's like, good, and then I had to end up starting
What's it called?
again
I'm in.
so he could catch up. No, it's not even that much like that, but it's really cute. It's good. And then I'll save my other one for the next round because it's one that you guys might be more into.
Fair enough. Will, TV series of the year. We had a lot to choose from.
This was tough because for me, I think TV series, especially Disney Plus TV series, really were outstanding this year. And movies were hurting quite a bit, especially the first few months of this year. But there was so much good entertainment on Netflix and Amazon and all these things that it was really, really hard to choose. I kind of have two choices, but I'll focus on one, which I know some people are not going to like this one, but I found it super interesting, which was an HBO show called Q Into the Storm. And it is about the QAnon phenomena from sort of a critical standpoint. It's hard to say, but if it was to lean one way, it wouldn't be pro. But it's even not about QAnon. It's more about like message boards and the politics and intricacies of how it even happened. So you've kind of heard of Q, but what is it? Where are these things dropped and why are they important? And so it's not even about what Q says. It's about what the impact on society is. It's super interesting. It gets deep into 8chan and 4chan and 2chan and all those things, all the chans.
Jackie Chan.
And a bunch of things I didn't even know about. So it's just interesting that these sort of weird subcultures and groups of people and communities ended up creating such an impact in 2020 and 2021. And what was the mechanism that allowed that to happen? And so I found it just absolutely fascinating. My wife hated it with a passion. She did not want to sit in the same room when I was watching it, but I found it completely interesting. And I would say
inspiring.
all the people in it are not good people. Most of them are not good people, but it is super interesting.
It was really good. I saw that. It was good.
I just I got up on the screen here, and I realized I failed to splash up Sex Lives of College Girls, which is now going to forever taint my Google search history. Thanks. Oops. So we'll just flash that
You're
up on the screen for you there to do that. Yeah, no, interesting choice. And we did talk about that a bit more in depth a few months ago too. So that one, and that one made an impact and stuck with you. So thanks for sharing. How about you, Jerome? Favorite TV series of the year?
Well, I thought it was going to be C, but I have to say I wasn't happy about the fact that it ended up becoming kind of like a Game of Thrones wannabe. Mm-hmm. So my vote is for, and I do have a runner-up as well, but I think I'm going to have to say Foundation, because it's just so cool to see something by Asimov rendered well on the screen finally. And it's so interesting the way they do it. It's almost annoying the way that they tell the story, because they're not afraid to take liberties and leaps in terms of the timeline and things, and it looks great, and it's I don't know, it's just unique. I find in a lot of stuff out there that I find very tiring and very poorly written. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's because it's Asimov in a way that it's intelligent and well written. And I find so much stuff now is written by, I don't know, some young guys that really have no clue how to write something that's properly written and is interesting these days. I don't know. I'm very biased with TV.
Jerome, are you saying that Will Smith's iRobot wasn't the best adaptation of an Isaac Asimov story?
How long ago was that? You see my point. That was a long time ago.
I know, and it wasn't great either. So
no, it wasn't great. It was okay. I mean, it was cool to see on the screen, but yeah, I mean, it's been a long, and granted, it's very hard to do Asimov stuff on the screen. I mean, just complicated. It's
a slow burn for sure.
Yeah, and I liked how they did it slow. They didn't try to. There's action, but they didn't try to make it exciting, to get viewers, which is another problem you see with series like Star Trek these days. They're just trying to rope in as many new Trekkies as they can. It's like, well, what happened to the original idea? For me. But
gotcha.
So yeah, that's my pick.
All right, Jamie.
Well, I tried with Foundations. I couldn't make it through, I don't know, 2-3 episodes. I just got lost in it, and then I lost interest in it, and so I've moved on from that one.
Dementia is no laughing matter, folks.
Yeah, true. And yeah, there's a few series that were enjoyable. Again, a runner-up for me would be Maid on Netflix. I really enjoyed that. I don't know if anybody has seen that one, but I thought it was really well done. A little cringy in spots, but I thought it was a fun one. I think ultimately, though, for me, it's a tie. So it's between Raised by Wolves, which is, I believe, HBO Max. It's an HBO one. And not a lot of people have seen it. It's a very quirky sci-fi.
It's AMC in Canada, I think.
AMC in Canada? Okay. It might be on Crave. I think it's on Crave in Canada. So, yeah, Raised by Wolves is definitely a really unique type of sci-fi it has some Earth 2 vibes. There's a throwback for a few people there, but a lot of lore, a lot of mythology put into it, and a lot of weird science put into it as well. So I would give Raised by Wolves a shot if you haven't tried it yet, if you like your sci-fi. But I think the one that really just sort of stuck with me, which had its problems, but was really stuck with me, was Squid Game. Squid Game really just grabbed me, and I had to watch the next episode. I had to see what was going on, and that one really captured the cultural zeitgeist. And I think even Google searches, when you look at the history of Google searches this past year, Squid Game, it just all of a sudden it just covered for a few days or even a week or so, that's what everybody was. The number one search was Squid Game. So that one there, I think, would be my top series this year.
And there was even it was out here in North America in September, and so you saw online very quickly. I don't know how they did it with all the supply chain issues. Squid Game Halloween costumes, the outfits or the uniforms of the I guess the enforcers or whatever they call them in there. So yeah, definitely some good picks. Now, as for myself, the Raised by Wolves, I was actually going to pick, but I could when I looked it up, again, time has lost all meaning. It said it was 2020, like fall of 2020 when that came out. So
I think I saw it in 2021. Probably.
Yeah. So I guess I had self-disqualified that, but I do agree that was great. I have enjoyed Foundation for sure. Haven't seen the college sex one, sorry Tasia, and still haven't seen Q Into the Storm. What my two top ones, again, Raised by Wolves definitely in there for sure. I really enjoyed WandaVision. It was like the first of the Disney Plus ones so far, just because it was so creative and so different and so I think almost brave in a way, to totally defy expectations as the launch title for the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Disney Plus streaming. It was just, and a lot of people, it was almost aggressive in how different it was. And it's just you know what, we're challenging you to stick through this. You get to episode 3 and it all starts to come together, and just the mystery of it, and it's basically a show about grief ultimately. But I thought it was well done, well acted, some really creative ideas in there, and of course tying into the MCU it's helpful if you're a fan of that. And I think it was in my mind, the strongest of the different Marvel Disney Plus series we had this year. Again, there's always biases, primacy and recency. Usually the stuff at the beginning or the stuff at the end, we tend to favor. The stuff in the middle often gets lost. I thought What If was the weakest of them, frankly. But and Hawkeye was fun, but kind of empty calories in a way. But I think WandaVision really made an impression.
Do you know Loki was the other one that was really close to me? WandaVision, Loki, and Q Into the Storm were sort of my top picks. I have to say is that for another runner-up for me, though, and this is, again, a bit of recency bias, and we're only partway through, is season 2 of The Morning Show. I've found it's just cranking up the intensity. Stuff happens that you wasn't really expecting to happen. The acting, it's a little melodramatic at times, but there is some genuinely funny stuff, some definitely some tense stuff, and the way they explore the issues from a number of perspectives, I really appreciate. It's not black and white. So it's one of the things I've really appreciated about The Morning Show. So that's with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell.
Reese Witherspoon, and of course Dr. Manhattan, who's my favorite character, who plays Corey, played by Billy Crudup. I think he's and Mark Duplass is great in there too, and just a really strong supporting cast as well. Anyway, so you'll notice, however, that none of our top picks included a Star Trek series this year.
Star Trek Discovery sucks.
If Gray was this season has been challenging. There's been a lot of feelings.
No, it just sucks. It just sucks. It's not challenging. It's bad.
I didn't like it after the first series. The second series, it was painful to get through the second series.
It's a painful show. It is just not good. It's very poorly written.
All right, on to our wildcard category. We're going to do maybe we'll have another episode where we do our worst picks of the year. We'll do Momentous.
That'd be a good idea.
We try to keep things positive and light here. So, Tasia, what's your wild card for this year? Our last round.
Okay, I'm gonna pick another TV show that's on AMC, and it's called Kevin Can F Himself, and that one is with it's with Annie Murphy. She played Alexis in Schitt's Creek, and she is phenomenal. And I will say, when we first saw the first episode, it's almost cringy because the whole thing behind it is it's kind of shot in this really cool juxtaposed world. So she's the typical wife to this fat slob, and it's done in front of a studio audience, and it's like one of those stupid comedy shows. Do you know what I mean? But then like she'll walk out of a scene and like go out the door, shut the door, and all of a sudden it becomes like this total drama. The lighting is completely changed, the mood is totally different, and she essentially wants to kill her husband. And so wow. It's really we got really into it. So like if you can get past the first episode, because at first, like when you're watching the sitcom part, it's almost like so bad sitcom in the first, which is done purposefully. So that's kind of why you have to get through that. But it's like such a cheesy sitcom, like the first episode, that you're like, oh, I don't know. And then it gets really good. So it's kind of this really interesting juxtaposition. Strong recommendation. I don't know if you have AMC or if it's available to stream, but it did get picked up for a second season. I don't know when they're going to even shoot it though. So
that's a good one. I've seen the promos for that, and not any trailer per se, but just like the title definitely rings a bell, but I had no idea what it's about. So why is it that historically a lot of women seem to really be interested in stories about women killing their husbands?
Does the question need to be asked?
Thank you very much.
Shall we explore?
I'd rather not.
All right, Will, do you have a wild card for us?
I do.
Just to hold that thought, just in case anyone had missed our messages previously, this could be a bonus pick, TV show or movie, or categories that we don't have, such as a documentary or a video game or a book or a podcast or a YouTube channel or a TikTok account. I know Jamie's huge on the TikTok, so any kind of piece of media. The college girl TikToks. Anyhow, wow. Resume, Will.
So, on that note, my pick, it's kind of off the map. I don't know if I've talked to any of you about it even, but I've watched it a few times, really enjoyed it. It's a documentary called The Rescue, on the rescue of the Thai soccer team by a bunch of divers. They particularly focus on the British amateur cave diving, spelunking crew that saves these kids from a cave. I don't know if you guys had heard about it. I'd heard about it at the time. Obviously, it was a fairly big story. You can see my cat in the background waking up. Basically, it goes into a lot of depth I hadn't understood, and I think some of the details were kept from people for a little bit about how the rescue kind of took place. I won't explain all of it. I'll let you guys go watch it, but super fascinating.
What's it called?
It's The Rescue, I believe it's called.
Okay.
It's a National Geographic documentary.
All right, I'm going to look that one up. Now, do we have any appearances by momentous regular Mr. Elon Musk?
No, but I was waiting for that to happen, and I think they just conveniently left him out because he was kind of a little classless and tasteless around the whole thing. And after watching and at least hearing the point of view of the people being interviewed, they had bigger problems going on, and he was probably more of a distraction than he was a help. So I think they just conveniently left that part out.
Gotcha. So just to clarify, there is a 2020 movie called The Rescue, which is not what we're looking for. If you are looking online, it's 2021, The Rescue, National Geographic. I hadn't even heard about that. Interesting. It's great. We're building up our watch lists for the this interregnum time between Christmas and New Year's here, which is a great opportunity to catch up on stuff like this. Thanks for sharing, Will. How about you, Jerome? You got any wild cards for us?
And I have to say, The Rescue I recently just saw and was fascinating. And it's the reason a documentary like this is so cool is you have basically the top around the world, top guys being faced with a problem and their solution is, well, there is no solution that is a good idea or is safe. So we have to basically do something that probably won't work. And then that's like always exciting in a documentary. Is like, well, here's something that's impossible, and there's a lot of pressure to make it work, and nobody's ever done it before. So go do it. That's what it's about. And love that. And but I have to say, for me, it was Loki, because I was very unexpected, and I thought it was so, interesting and unpredictable, and it just keeps growing, like, and evolving into the point where it reveals a lot near the end that it's going to change the whole MCU, I guess, basically in the future. So that's pretty exciting. And but it's interesting to see Loki and the in these roles, unexpected places that you haven't seen him before, and have to deal with it. That's really quite interesting, I think. And so
production design was really cool on it.
Yeah.
I liked alligator Loki myself.
Yeah, croaky.
Yeah, all the Lokis was so bizarre, like that. But it then gives you more insight into Loki, what Loki is, and so that was cool.
And Richard E. Grant is always fun to have on board, and it really is setting the stage for the next chapter the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the multiverse. We've got Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness coming in the spring. So this is all through the Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange coming out there. All bets are off. We're going to have a lot of it really unshackles the storytelling, because you're not necessarily bound to canon in the way a lot of series are, which is kind of provides some interesting opportunities for exploration. And they kind of played with that notion in What If a little bit as well, because What If generally was about, in the comics, these one-off stories. What if what if Captain America was actually Agent Carter became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers, right? So exploring things like that. But then toward the end, they kind of tied into a potential multiverse approach. So, but Loki definitely helped set the stage for that. So, interesting pick there too. How about you, Jamie, any wild cards?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things here that just kind of come to mind. A movie that I watched, I don't know, back in the spring on Amazon Prime, it's called Palm Springs. Has anybody seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has Andy Samberg and Kristen Milotti, and it's a one of these relive the day type movies.
Kind of like a Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day situation. But I thought it was really well done and very well acted. And it was very, I don't know, there was something about it. Again, it just sort of stuck with me. It's like, oh yeah, I could watch that again. I appreciated the humor in it. And it was dry, dark comedy, but light-hearted at the same time. So I would recommend that as a movie to watch if you want to just watch something if you have the Amazon Prime. But the dark horse for me on the wild card is a video game that's been years in the making. This has been released a long time ago, but I only got into this year, is a No Man's Sky. And as we talked earlier before the show, I broke both my legs at the beginning of the year, and I was in a wheelchair for a couple of months at home. And during that time, I decided to give this No Man's Sky a thing, because it was on sale or something like that on the Steam. And it got really bad reviews when it was first released 5 years ago. But what's happened is they've been releasing updates for this game constantly for the last 5 years, free of charge, because they just wanted to make this game what it needed to be. And it's a true literally open universe game where you can explore a free universe, travel star systems, travel galaxies, land on planets wherever you want to, mine things, capture animals as pets, create your own bases, and then do trading. And it feels like you're living in a universe, and it's created in such a way that it's not crazy difficult, but it's so robust that you continue to just learn about the lore of this universe that you're living in. And it really does feel grand on a scale that I never thought would be possible in a video game in my lifetime. I thought this would be something in the future, but that is something that really has come into its own over the last year or so. And I think a lot of people have finally gotten on board with that and have really enjoyed it. And I just really discovered it this year. So I would really give that a try if you could.
Mm-hmm. Great pick there. It's interesting looking at the information on the website there for No Man's Sky. It really, I think, reinforces the fact that even though that there's been a lot of hype in the last 6 months or so about the quote-unquote metaverse, that we've had a number of metaverses in existence for years now. We've talked about Second Life previously with you, Jamie, but even games like this, open world games like this, where you can interact with people, you can, there's just environments that get affected by your actions. You can, you can customize your characters, all these things that you can do, then just wander around. There's not necessarily an objective. There can be objectives and missions and whatnot, but just people spend so much time in these quote unquote metaverses that we just haven't really called metaverses. We've just called them games. Yep. So it seems like it's been powerful enough to actually pull you in, just the creativity there.
It's amazing.
Very cool choice.
What about you, Tristan?
So mine is for fear of pandering a little bit because of the particular audience here, Jamie. There's a little mini documentary that was produced and released on the website The Verge about a month ago. Dieter Bohn produced and hosted this, and it was about the history of the handspring trio, basically, starting with Palm and the offshoot company Handspring, started by the founders of Palm, and the making of what eventually became the trio, starting with the visor phone add-on to the handspring devices. So it's a really interesting perspective for those who their understanding of smartphones is basically iPhone and Android phones. Smartphones did exist previous to that. I've shown on the show here, my 1998 Nokia 9000i communicator, which had all sorts of features, very primitive by today's standards. But if you were looking at what it could do, it was the smartphone of its time. And the Trio was the first phone to actually popularize the term smartphone. So really neat little documentary here to give you some history, and in the context of later iPhone and Android phones as well. And I know, Jamie, you had a Trio, and then eventually a Palm Pre.
Yeah,
you had one of the Trios, didn't you? You had Palm Pilot for sure.
I had a Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
I think I had a Trio.
Yeah, because I had a Trio 270 and a 650.
Yeah, and then I went to and then the Palm Pre. Yeah.
I think you had a 650 or a 670.
I think it was the 650.
650.
I think I've still got it somewhere in a drawer somewhere. So
that's another episode.
They were really cool technology at that point. And I even remember back in the day working at the office here and having a client come in with a similar a Trio as well, and I was able to beam my contact information to her and
using infrared,
using infrared tech or something, and she was just amazed by it and all that kind of stuff. So technology just marches on.
Yeah, so this one is just it's only a half an hour long. Definitely worthwhile if checking out to fill a gap between shows or movies or something like that. It was for the tech enthusiasts out there. So. So that is called what is that called? Springboard, The Secret History of the First Real Smartphone. And so that's it for our picks. Thank you so much to all of you for sharing those. Now we have a couple of projects we want to share real quick, and that is one from Will. You've been busy the last few months, all year. I don't know how many you've done, but you've got another drop of beats for us.
I do, yeah. It's I've had this series called Gold Tooth. This is the third one. People seem to really like it, so I created a third one and actually just dropped it a couple days ago. But before that, I had a collaboration with a pretty big name in the looper sort of scene, and so it's been a busy end to the year. I think altogether I've done about 10 or 11 loopers this year and 2 or 3 collaborations. probably over 100 beats, because there's about 10 beats per looper, and I've got another 4 that are in various stages of finishing up, and I have another collaboration with another loop maker for January, I believe, is when we might be dropping it. So yeah,
super cool.
Keep on keeping on.
Exactly. Don't break the chain, as Jerry Seinfeld would say. Just keep if you can get one thing out a month, that's awesome. Or you could be even more ambitious and put out a video a week, like none other than Tasia Custodi here. Tasia, what's your latest video about?
It's 5 time saving Google Calendar tips. So, and yes, I went through my my Google spreadsheet, and yeah, I'm gonna have 52 videos this year.
Wow.
So I took 2 weeks off, but like 2 of the weeks I doubled up content, so it ended up being a wash. But I'm tired. It's a lot. So anyway, watch it or don't. You know what I mean? It's like
watch it.
At the end of the year,
like and subscribe.
And just like
smash that bell. Come on.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash all the buttons.
Can I tell
smash
you?
all the buttons.
Just to jump in, I don't know, Tasia can agree on this as someone who produces a lot of material. I had someone say to me online, like, "Boy, everything you make is so good." And I'm like, "You don't listen to the stuff that I don't release. There's a lot of stuff you don't hear."
That's exactly.
People are really nice to you, Will.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's right. Turn off the comments.
Turn off the comments.
I deleted one today.
Oh,
YouTube's
really?
not great at, like, YouTube's good with, like, they'll block gross things or mean things or whatever, but like they're not so good off the hop, so you'll still get the notification. And you're like, "No, man, that's awful." And then like sometimes YouTube will remove it by the time you click through, but what are you gonna do?
That's a great accomplishment, though. I mean,
and Jerome, I got a link here. Do you have something to share with us too, Jerome?
Yeah, I'm excited that a film I worked on actually got released in China, because it's pretty hard these days.
Oh wow!
But it's a film that asks the question: what if you could swallow a pill of nanobots that enhanced your body and made it into a quantum computer that could tell if the other person, as the first app available on it, whether the person was lying or not? And what happens if you took that technology and you went on a romantic getaway into the mountains with your partner?
Oh snap!
And this is going to be released with English subtitles in the future. There's a deal going on in the spring for international release, as far as the latest news as of this month. But for now, it has been released in China, and a few million views on the trailer, which is nice. Limited theater run, but it's a Canadian director, but it was made in China just because it's easier to get the funding and to do this there, and it's very unique in the market. So, and the director lives there, so that's it's cool. You can check out the trailer, and you can look forward to the release internationally, hopefully later next year. But I'm just glad to see this get out, because it was really like a lot of work during the pandemic when we had time to fine tune it and perfect it. And I did the sound design, the audio editing, ADR dubbing for some of the actors, mixing, surround 5.1 mixing. So
very cool. What's it called again?
It's called awesome. Guidance, or Zheyi is the Chinese title, but the English title is Guidance. That's the name of the first app that's available on this quantum computer that is your body. So
you'll have to let us know on a follow-up when it's available for streaming somewhere in North America, so we can check it out. It looks
yeah, definitely.
It's actually, it seems very similar to a show that I watched called Maid for Love on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah,
I want to see that too. I've heard about that. It looks really
very similar concept. That was from a couple of years ago. So
and that's the thing. Working on movies, I mean, movies can take years to get made. So I can imagine, like, finally seeing it hitting the theaters must be very rewarding for you, Jerome.
Yeah, it's cool. So that's what I've been working on, and what I can say is I accomplished this year.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Jamie, for future episodes, we should start showing off some of your cutting edge kitchen designs.
Yeah, cutting edge kitchen designs.
To show off some of your work, because you've got some beautiful stuff that you post on Instagram and other places too.
Oh yeah. There's always something. That's I don't know. It's
so modest.
Well, yeah. I do. Yeah, I've done it for so long now. I guess it doesn't have quite the excitement value that other people see in it. Right. But you can always check out ReynoldsCabinetShop.com, and you can see some pictures and stuff that we do. So it's I'm learning some new software actually over the holiday here called Chief Architect to hopefully enhance our design quality and efficiency. So. I'll be able to report on some design software maybe in the next couple of months.
Cool.
If you decide to have me back on, if I haven't burned too many bridges.
Of course not.
The more content, the better. So ReynoldsCabinetShop.com. You can find Jerome's work at ProSoul.com, Will Silver at WillSilver.com. That's just incentive for him to get it updated. Tasia Custodi, get your beats up on your website, Will. TasiaCustodi.com. And for Momentous, you can find us at Momentous.tv, Facebook.com/MomentousTV, Twitter.com/MomentousTV, Instagram.com/Momentous.tv. As for YouTube, search my name, Tristan Jutra. Look for one of the Momentous playlists, and you can find all of our Momentous live videos there and other Momentous videos that we shoot and eventually edit and post. More to come on that. 2022 is going to be a big year, a momentous year, so to speak. So thank you, Tasia and Will, as always, for a wonderful year together. We started this up in March. I remember our very first talks in February about getting this going. And thank you so much, Jamie and Jerome, for filling in for us as the year's gone on. You both were on multiple times. We really appreciate that. We look forward to having you back again in the future. And thanks to anyone that might happen to be watching or listening out there. And to all of you, both here and wherever you are around the world, we hope your 2022 is truly what?
Momentous.
Right.
Wow.
And safe.
Yeah.